Hey, welcome to The Explainer, where we break down complex tech topics into simple visual guides. Today, we're diving into a super important question for anyone building with AI. How do you pick the perfect hosting model for your intelligent agents on Azure?
All right, so let's set the scene. You've spent all this time, maybe weeks, maybe months, and you've built this amazing AI agent. It's smart, it's capable, but now what? The real challenge, honestly, isn't just the building part. It's figuring out how to get it into production so people can actually use it.
Now, your first thought might be, hey, I'll just deploy this like any other app, right? And look, for a really simple agent, that might fly at first. But as your agents get more advanced, handling long, detailed conversations, and juggling multiple tools, the infrastructure choices you make become absolutely crucial.
So let's really dig in and understand why hosting an agent is such a different beast compared to what we're used to. It really is a whole new ballgame.
And this is really the heart of the matter. Traditional microservices, they're stateless. They get a request, do a job, and they're done. They forget everything. But AI agents, they're the opposite. They have to be stateful. They need to remember the entire history of a long conversation and coordinate a bunch of different tools. That changes everything for our infrastructure.
Okay, so with that challenge in mind, what are our options over on Azure? Let's take a quick flyover of the landscape and see what's out there.
So what you're seeing here is basically a spectrum of control versus complexity. Way over on one side, you've got Azure Functions. Super simple, low complexity, perfect for quick, event-driven jobs. On the total opposite end, there's Azure Kubernetes Service, AKS. You get all the control in the world, but yeah, it's complex. And you've got some great options like App Service and Container Apps sitting right there in the middle.
But what if you need the power to run your own custom code without the massive headache of managing something like Kubernetes? Well, this is where things get really interesting. There's a new category of tools emerging that hits that perfect sweet spot.
And that's the whole idea behind Foundry Hosted Agents. See, they're not just a generic box to run your container in. They're part of a managed platform that is agent-aware. It actually understands core agent ideas like conversations and tool calls right out of the gate. And that just makes your life so much easier.
So what does that actually mean for you, the developer? Well, it means you get a managed lifecycle. Observability with open telemetry is just built right in, and you can bring your own favorite framework, like LangGraph, for example. The platform does all the heavy lifting, even scaling down to 0 so you're not paying for idle time.
Okay, but how does this magic happen? How does your custom code talk to this powerful managed platform? Well, the secret sauce is this little thing called the hosting adapter.
And you're going to love this. It's often as simple as a single line of code. Seriously, you just take the agent you already built, wrap it with this adapter, and boom, that's it. Your agent is now plugged into the platform. So this little piece of code is a real workhorse. It's automatically handling all this annoying plumbing for you, translating requests, managing the conversation history, spitting out all your observability data, and it even helps you test locally. You get to focus on the fun part, the agent's logic.
All right, theory is great, but let's get practical. How do you actually get one of these things up and running? Let's walk through the 4 main steps.
And the good news is, the process is going to feel super familiar if you're a developer. First, you code your agent. Then you create a simple manifest file to describe it. You containerize it with Docker, and finally, you deploy it with the Azure Developer CLI. Pretty standard stuff. Actually, it gets even better. Once you're all set up, you can boil that entire deployment process down to just one command, as dup. That single command builds your container, pushes it up to a registry, and deploys the agent for you. It's a huge time saver. And after it's deployed, you get this amazing control over its lifecycle. You can tell it to scale all the way down to 0 when nobody's using it, which is great for saving money. Or you can keep an instance warm and ready to go for those times when you need an instant response with 0 delay.
And again, this isn't buried in some complicated portal. It's a straightforward command. You can see right here, we're just telling it, hey, minimum replicas is 0, and you can scale up to a maximum of 3. Simple. You get that perfect balance of cost and performance.
Now, this is a massive win. You get all this observability built in. Without writing any extra code, you get detailed traces, metrics, and logs exported automatically. This gives you this incredible window into what your agent is actually thinking and doing.
And hey, remember that whole stateful conversation problem we started with? Well, this is the solution. The platform connects directly to a conversation system, so it manages all that history for you. Your agent always has the context it needs, which is just essential for a good user experience.
Okay, wow, that was a lot. So let's pull it all together and figure out how you can choose the right model for your project. So think of this as your cheat sheet. It really comes down to your priorities. If you need absolute maximum control, you have custom networking needs, then yeah, AKS is for you. If it's a super simple, event-driven task, go with Azure Functions. But if you want to run your own custom code with the simplicity of a managed service, Foundry Hosted Agents were literally designed for that. And there's even a no-code, prompt-based option if you don't want to write any code at all.
And really, that brings us to the big takeaway here. Your agents are only going to get smarter and more complex. So the real question is your infrastructure ready to keep up? Choosing the right hosting model isn't just about operations today. It's about setting yourself up for success tomorrow.